Well, guys, season 2 of Andor and the final season of Andor is now in the books. We just finished watching the final 3 episodes of Andor, and they were pretty good. I do believe, in my opinion anyway, I like the other arc a little bit better. There was more action, but this was a satisfying conclusion, and I believe that it really does tie in to Rogue One. What were your thoughts on this last arc?
It's not bad. It's just the first episode, there's no Andor.
Yeah, there's no Andor in the first episode at all. And actually, for the first part of 2, they were trying to tie up Luthen. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, Luthen Rail is not in Rogue One. I knew he was going to die, and that is what happened. Now, it's pretty interesting, though, because Luthen gets visited by Dedra, and we find out that Dedra is on to Luthen, knows that he's basically a spy for the rebellion, and instead of actually going quietly with the Empire, he decides to commit suicide. But the Empire ends up keeping him alive, and it's really about, trying to keep him alive to talk. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't work out because his assistant, what's her name, Callie, or I don't remember her name exactly. Like she ends up coming and unplugs him from this life support he's on, so he doesn't talk and he dies.
Yeah, but I do like the flashback of the first part where the Luther.
Yeah, Luthen gets her and basically raises her. I believe that was like from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, but it didn't show.
It didn't tell you.
A Clone War or not. But in this 3 episode, we saw some aliens.
Yeah, you did have that alien patient that she was carrying around. But I did find the most interesting part, though, is that Dedra, she gets her just desserts.
Yeah.
It all comes back full circle for her because Dedra, she's going to end up in a place that Cassian Andor was in season 1. Now, Lonnie, the Imperial in the ISB, he dies, and he's trying to get off of Coruscant because they're on to him. And then Krennic finds out that Lonnie was actually accessing the Death Star files from Dedra. And he thought that Dedra was a spy for the rebellion. She wasn't. But she got duped, and guess where she ends up? In that same prison camp, working on the Death Star that Andor was in season 1. You can't make that up. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a good touch. The 3rd episode, really, everything kind of ties into Rogue One.
Yes, there's a cliffhanger that the Cassian girlfriend, what's her name?
Oh, yeah.
Has a baby?
Bits, they actually show her, and she actually has Cassian Andor's baby. And it's kind of sad, because we know that Cassian is going to die in Rogue One.
Yeah, but is that her baby? I mean,
yeah,
their baby?
I believe that's probably why she actually left. I believe she left because she knew that Cassian had to focus on the rebellion. She knew she was pregnant, I believe. So that was kind of a surprise, though.
Yeah, it is.
It really was. And if you guys remember Rogue One, Cassian Andor goes to the ring of, what is it called, Kefren? Where he meets that informant and he kills him. He gets the mission at the end of the 3rd episode of this final arc. So him and K2SO are going to meet that informant, because they actually know that the Empire is actually creating a weapon. They don't know it's a planet killer like the Death Star, but they know about the Kuiper crystals. They mention Galen Erso. All the stuff in Rogue One, they start finding out in that final third episode.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I'm going to give season 2 of Andor, I'm going to give it a B plus. I can't give it an A because the first 3 episodes are really bad, in my opinion. So I cannot give it an A. How would you grade season 2 of Andor?
Well, between B and C.
B and C? Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I don't understand is why the Luther assistant should know that when she tried to communicate with the rebellion, she should know that the Imperial...
We're tracking her.
Yeah, is tracking her.
Yeah, but I guess she didn't really have much of a choice because she's the one that had all that information on the Death Star. So she was kind of like, all right, I need to tell you guys. And it's kind of funny, though, because at first, when she tells Cassian about the Death Star, even though they don't know it's the Death Star, they know about the Kuiper crystals and everything, he goes back to Yavin 4 and he's in trouble for leaving unauthorized, and they ground him. It's almost like they didn't want to listen to him.
Yeah, and I don't understand why at first the Luther assistant doesn't want to live with him. She wants to stay.
Maybe because Luthen is dead. You know, she has an emotional connection to him. But she ends up going to Yavin 4, and I don't believe she's in Rogue One, so I don't know what's going to happen to her or not.
I don't know, but at that part when they were talking in the apartment where Bits and Cassian were living.
Yeah, the safe house, yeah.
I was kind of, you guys better move.
I know you kept saying, you guys better hurry up, man, because the Empire, they were going from like room to room.
Yeah.
On them.
And they were still talking. It's like, you guys better move.
Yeah. But it didn't happen, though. But overall, it was satisfying. I believe that the third arc in season 2 was the best in the whole series. This was the second best right here. The ISB seems to be, I think it's pretty much gone away now. Because Lonnie was in the ISB. He's dead. Dedra, ISB. She got sent to prison camp. And the head of the ISB commits suicide.
Yeah.
So I believe that's the end of the ISB right there. That was pretty wow right there. But yeah, that is our review of the fourth arc of Andor season 2. I still believe they should have called this Rebellion Rising, because it's Andor, but overall he really wasn't the star of season 2.
No. He's more like
supporting character. Yeah. I mean, the most interesting stuff in this show really was without him. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. We'll be back tomorrow in another video. Until then, be safe.
Goodbye.